Hello dear viewer, I'm leesusss and welcome to another indie game. Yes indeed, this is one that's in testing right now. Testing, I guess that's what the T down the bottom left means. Down here, Death Road's Tournament. It's on Steam. Oh, it's a good one. It's a hard one, but it's a good one, which is always nice. So how do you like the aesthetic here? This is going to take a bit of explaining to do. It's a Road Warrior card-based, turn-based type game. Okay, and the rules are very good, but they're a little complicated in places. So I'm going to work my way through as carefully as possible. So the first video is probably going to be fairly slow, me going through how it all works. But it's worth your time. We'll see how much action we can get into the first one. If not, it'll be in the next video. And this is the sort of thing I wanted to play for a long time, because back in the 80s you had Steve Jackson gave us Car Wars, the board game, and then people driving around on races or through the streets shooting each other from armoured cars, cars with armour on them as opposed to a proper armoured car, and mounted weapons and rockets and flamethrowers and the like. A bit of a cliche now, bit of a trope, but of course then, back in the 80s, we had Mad Max. We already had Mad Max. We had with Car Wars, we had oh my god, it's got out of my head now. Dark Future and Games Workshop type things all around this here, and it was great. I wanted to play this so much, and I never actually played much of Car Wars in the end. I really wanted to, and they made action versions of this game where you're driving around and shooting people. That was big in the early console days, but my reflexes aren't up to that anymore. So I was very keen on the idea of a turn-based game. Okay, so I haven't got very far with the game. I've got about maybe halfway through, I think. Really struggled. I don't know if it's me being rubbish or the game being hard, but I haven't got to the end yet. So at the start, we've only got a few drivers to choose from, and we've only got a few cars to choose from. But essentially everything in the game is all about the cards. You've probably seen games like this in the games before. So for example, let's not worry about all the symbols mean yet, but essentially the driver we choose, which is Zed, the dude, gives us different driver cards, gives us different abilities. Okay, so essentially we've got some... these are cards that we always have access to. We can use one, if we pay the price, every turn. Okay, they're always available to us. Like, they're stuck in our sleeve. They're always there to be used. They're not like the cards that cycle through in our deck. Okay, so Z here, for example, enables us to cycle cards if you want to do a little bit of steering or changing gear, and to speed up and slow down. That's what he's got as his sort of things on here. And then you've got Zoe Hard Rock Murdoch, who, and all of her cards have got like heavy metal references. We've got speed up or hard slow down, some steering again, so fairly similar, and changing cards, but not quite as good as what Zed can do. Don't worry about the skid deck, this is something else. We'll come to skidding later. And then we've got Chevelle Third Eye Monroe, who has got similar things again. She can speed up but lose a card, drop one of your cards from your hand, steering, and then reaction, which allows us to changing gear and then changing cards as well. So we're going to go with Zoe, because I've played all these characters quite a few times, badly, and we're going to go with let's look at the skid second. How different is that? Not that different. Okay. Then we've got two cars to choose from. Game's still in development, so lots more things are going to be added in later, but essentially we've got every car has got a certain number of similar characteristics. So this one here, the Buck, has a bit more health, and control is very important in the game. Just checking through these, because I'm still learning the game as far as that goes. I think I'll go with this one probably here. But every vehicle has a certain number of slots in it, and as we know, everything in the game means cards. Okay, we've got different layouts. They're not available yet, either because I haven't unlocked them or because they're not in the game. If you played Faster Than Light, you probably getting the gist of this already. So every vehicle has an engine, it has some wheels, you've got a rear mount, a mid mount, and a hood mount for weapons or equipment. Doesn't necessarily mean the one on the front is going to be facing forward. but there's just 3 mounts for each one. And as you find new ones or switch them out, you will find that you get different cards for them as far as you go, and then you can do different things based upon these are the ones. This is the starting deck from here for the vehicle. We've got the ones for the engine and the wheels, and then the different guns from there. So essentially the big old chain guns facing straight back, and then these 2 shotties are fixed at an angle like this. Okay, right, I think we're going to go with this one probably. Yeah, we will. Okay, so here's the format of the game. Again, familiar, I think, to some of the recent games we've seen out there. Whether you're a little man with a sword assaulting a tower or anything else, you recognise these paths that go through. You can choose where to start from, and we're having a race. I thought there's past misery here, all the way across to the end. Now, I'm not even halfway through probably. I reckon I've got to about here. I've got to about here before I've always failed, if I'm lucky. Moon impact. I hadn't seen that before. Cool. Whatever disaster has happened. I love it. No idea. No one there. No one cares. It's a bit harsh. Nice. Very nice, but a little too cold. It's Canada, mate. Right, so we can start any of these points here, but we are not starting alone. We are going to... When we click on this, we can't change it. And all the other races are... It's a race, yeah? There's other drivers as well. Some of them, characters we've just seen 2 minutes ago. And we're going to be racing against them to get across here. And at some point, we're going to meet up with them along the way. Not all of them necessarily, but 1 or 2 of them. And have to fight them, of course. And at each of these points here, we can see different things that happen. We've got a repair. We've got some fights. We've got some question marks. We're going to start here. There we go. There's some more races down there. Right then. There's the garage. We can drop into this at any time, but only do modifications when we're not in a fight. And we can see more about the items in there. Anyway, right. Let's go. Repair is super important. We're going to go this way. And as we get into a fight... 2 fights, okay. There we go. We'll discuss... We won't just jump straight to the action. We'll cover how the mechanics of the game actually work, as far as I understand it. Okay, main objective, destroy all enemies or escape. And escaping is a possibility we'll look at in the future. Here we are on the road. Now, obviously means we're moving, but it's and the road will change. Take the headphones off my ears slightly. But this is the format of what's happening here. It's a turn-based game, so despite the movement, things only happen when we start asking them to. Here's our opening hand of cards that we've drawn, and over here we have the rest of the cards sitting in our deck. Yeah, and here are our fixed cards, the ones that we always have access to every round. We can use them each of them once per round. Okay, let's look at the format of the card. So, the card has a cost, and then some sort of effect in it as well. We can see. Apologies if I make any mistakes in here. I'm still learning this, but I've got the gist of the game generally as far as that goes. We've got red cards, which are generally weapons. We've got blue cards, which is manoeuvring. We've got yellow cards, which is speeding up and slowing down. Okay. Now, everything in this game is card-based. We can't even slow down unless we use a card to do so. Okay. So to use a card, we would pay the cost from here, which comes out of our control over here. And control is very important. Our handling, rather. There you go. The game pop-up corrected for me. This is our... If you're more familiar with games where you use mana to spend cards, this is our mana. Kind of. There's an extra factor to that. But essentially, every time we pay a cost, it comes out of here. We've only got 12 per round before we hand off to the enemies to do the same thing. And these guys, these little gits here, have got decks as well. They've got their more limited decks, so these guys have generally got firing decks, manoeuvring, speeding up and slowing down. Okay? So, let's go through some of these symbols. If I just right click here for a second, this might be a little bit overwhelming. It's a little bit overwhelming to me when I first saw it, but it's fine. These are all the different things the symbols can mean on the cards, but they're they become intuitive after all. It's not bad. So the basic, let's start with speeding up and slowing down. Okay. So we have here these symbols here. This is going backwards, this is going forwards. Same here as well. We can do one or the other. And this is a bashing symbol. We can hit something. Weak throttle. 3 control. So we can move forward 1 square to here, or back to here. However, there's another factor in here. You can notice that the gears are in here as well. These are our gears. And there's a pop-up. There you go. Current gear. You always start in every round in first gear. And then to change gears, you have to spend cards to do so. So, for example, if we see... Have we got one here? It's maybe not going to show us on here. No, we haven't got one. Ah! That one from there. Let's look at our deck a second. Got one we're going to show us on here? Maybe I'm missing it as far as that. It's like a cog symbol. Okay, we'll probably find one later. Changing gear is important because, as you can see on the side, if we're in first or second gear, we get the move forward or move backwards option. If we're in third, fourth or fifth gear, then we can move forward and forward. And we can also do a bash. So we could maybe, if we were here, we could approach and then smack this guy right in his lasers. So generally speaking, I've found that the higher gear, the higher number gear, the better. Not always true, but that's generally, so it's important to control that. Okay. Movement. Here, you'll notice as well, interestingly enough, let's pick a simpler one. In gears 1 to 3, using this card will move us 1 square to the side, left or right. Being in a higher gear, we can move twice. However, notice that this is a 2 here. If we picked this and we were in a higher gear, we'd have to move 2. A lot of the things on the cards are, you will do this now, you have to do this. You can't easily not do something if the card offers it to you. Which can sometimes be a tricky thing you've got to do. So, there's no point in rushing this game, okay? You've got to take your time with it. Despite the speed effect here, you're going to take your time or you're going to make a mess up. Something wrong with that. Before we go on to the weapons, let's quickly cover the road here as well. You've got the road will change as we drive along, but essentially we've got a tarmac road here. We've got a dirt border here, and we've got a barrier. You don't want to hit the barrier, funnily enough. And there can be places where the road truncates, and if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you will instantly die. So, just to bear that in mind. But of course, if you're clever, you might be able to make one of these guys instantly die. Yeah, but the point is, if we were to drive onto this side here, because we hit the dirt road, we drop back a space. And this is important as well. Ignore the dog in the background. Ignore the dog. He's in the boot of the car, woofing, if you can hear him. I always bring my dog with me. This is an important part of manoeuvring. Being able to step onto the dirt won't actually damage us, but it will allow us to drop back a space. And these are the sort of things you learn as you go along to try to improve your control over the game. Because despite all these cards, it's surprisingly hard to manoeuvre in the game. And not only manoeuvre, but outmanoeuvre the enemies. Okay, damage is very important in the game, obviously. It's the most important, the fact that it's very hard to repair damage, extremely hard in fact. So every fight you want to be in, you absolutely have to minimise the damage you take and understand how these guys think and work to avoid them getting hits on you, compared to rather than just killing them, also avoiding damage as much as possible. Right, weapons. Weapons vary a great deal depending on which ones you've got, of course. Now, which ones we've got open at the moment? We haven't got cast to fire our rear weapon right now. So if this guy was right behind us, it wouldn't matter because we can't shoot at him. But this one's quite close. Lead spray. There you go. So you can see the cost on there, and then because they're imagined at an angle, we can fire across there. We would do 9 damage to him through on here. Similar one on here. Double barrels, got a slightly higher cost. But if we were lucky enough to have 2 vehicles in the right place, we could potentially hit 2 vehicles. And you will fight more than 1 vehicle. Up to 3 I've fought so far. Most times you can fight 3. And that gets even more tricky to manoeuvre around. So we can shoot this guy up from here. Okay, so yeah, I think you're getting the idea now how we're getting on from here. So, the other thing is about, we've mentioned handling already. Okay, one of the other factors as well, it wouldn't be a road rash type game unless we couldn't smack our car into other cars. Yeah, and we can also do that if we want to. This, we can, generally speaking, if a car bumps into you, it's moderately low damage. Maybe if someone's losing control or something. If they're ramming into you, it does more. It does a moderate amount of damage, not as much as a gun. It does a moderate amount without modifications. So we could just pull alongside this guy, this fool, and slap him over here. The important thing about those sort of attacks as well, is that you lose handling when you get hit like that. And certain weapons will do it as well. Certain weapons will destabilise you. Now, of course, it's important when I talked about using up your mana, use your cards for you. We always want to keep some mana in reserve if possible. If we hit 0 handling in our turn, we will go into a skid. There's the skid deck. That's what we were talking about before, yeah? Is it? I wonder if that's represented somewhere in the U or something. This scar. No? Okay. What if the skid deck is in here somewhere? Possibly it is, and I can't see it. I'm looking in the wrong place. But if we go down to 0 handling, we will start to slide away. We could slam into the wall. We could slow down. Generally not speed up. We could do various things to cause trouble for ourselves. Occasionally it works out and it's good. Occasionally it doesn't. Often it doesn't. It happens to these guys as well. But of course, if I get to like 1 handling left, and then some enemy hits me and reduces my handling to 0 in their turn, I will lose control and I can slam around all over the place as well. So handling is important. Don't just think to drain all this down to 0, because it could cause you some serious problems if you do so. So of course the next step here, now I've blathered away for ages, sorry, but it needs explaining on these things. And there's more, as we get more and more items, it gets more and more complicated. For example, what about down here? What about this little symbol down here? This little tick symbol, we can look it up here. Effects on yourself if the target has been hit. So some of these cards have little boxes down the bottom with all the additional things. If we use one of these methods to hit a target, what will happen excuse me, is we will also go up a gear. We will have to go up a gear. Okay? So those things can affect us as well. And there's various, we'll cover the other ones as we go, like these are all interesting effects that come through later as we get new items and expand from there. Right, let's do a quick plan of how to waste these little idiots, these little drone morons, as soon as possible without getting ourselves turning to scrap. Right, I thought about cutting the video there because it's about the length of a usual video I do, but that's no fun, is it? Then you're not seeing enemies shoot any stuff. So let's do that first, shall we? So how are we going to get rid of these? How are we going to ace these fools? Well, we've only got our forward, angular firing weapons, so we can. But these do 9 damage each. This guy's got no armour. Armour can be a thing you apply based upon the cards, of course. All we need to do is move forward a little bit and then shoot this idiot. If we didn't have this option, they will be thinking about what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. So you can see these guys are fairly similar. All this guy does is shoot backwards, and this guy does is shoot forwards. So all they're going to do on their turn is manoeuvre in line with us and then try to shoot us. That is their goal in life. Okay, and they know also the enemies know what we're armed with, so they're going to try and avoid it. Anyway, how do we move forward a little bit? Well, we can do this one. We can use this to advance up to here, or reverse. We can advance 1 forward, see, or go backwards 2. That will cost us 3 handling, and then we've still got enough. We've got 5 more to shoot this guy to pieces. Okay, and yeah, we'll keep this card for now. It's fine. So if we do this, there we go. Oh, sorry. The second part there is when you see a click on you like that, that's the gain one. That's like you get that kind of target on you if something's going to happen, like you're going to dump a card or you're going to gain a card or something like that. Okay, we're not actually targeting ourselves. Anyway, we'll give him a lead spray. How does that make you feel, buddy? Well, you're going to love this one then. He's dead. Gotcha him. So now he's quite a way behind us, so he's going to spend most of his turn. He might be able to catch up with us and shoot us, but he's in this lane, and we're going to leave him there to He might get far enough to give us one shot, but that's fine. So we've still got 4 health. We've still got 4... I want to call it handling all the time. Is it handling? It is handling. I'm going to use the right terms. 4 handling left, and we'll leave it as that for now, okay? By the way, if we wanted to, we kept on accelerating. If you get far enough ahead or far enough behind an enemy, you escape from them. You're only allowed a few escapes per game, though, or you're out of the race. And effectively, you're losing the game. Got 2 new cards. What are you going to do, little fella? What you going to do? Here he comes. Come on, then. Don't think I'm talking to him now. Are you going to fire? He is! You little git. Okay, so he has a laser. That's the only thing he's got. And it hits everything in a line, sort of 3 squares in front of him. And he did ding us a bit. This is what I mean about very hard to avoid damage, though. We couldn't really have done... If I had pulled any further ahead, then I might have lost him. I didn't want to escape from him, because I want to smash him and get his scrap. But now we've got no rear-firing weapons, which is a problem. We can slam him, but we'll only do like 3 or 4 points of damage. So what do we do about this? Well, a couple of things we can do. We've got reload here, which we're only in first gear, but we'll gain... If we were in second gear, we would go up a gear, 1 or 2 gears, and we'd get 6 armour. Okay? Which is there. Block. Take less condition damage. Then lose that much block. Lose that block at the beginning of your turn. So it only lasts 1 turn, but we can use... Well, he's probably going to shoot us again. So we can use that to soak up 6 points of damage. If we go all the way to 5th gear, then we could get a couple of... am I getting cards for that as well? I can't quite see what that is. Yeah, I'm drawing cards from the pile, which is nice, but we're not going to get that. Okay, and here you can see the bash damage that I'll do. If I smack him, I'll do 3 damage, and he'll lose 3 handling. I could do that. See, I could pull back and slap him. If I slapped him, just by driving into him, he would lose all of that handling. He'd bounce around for a bit. I haven't really got the hang of yet about how much they lose control, but essentially he would bounce around. He might hit the wall, he might bump into us, he might do all sorts of things. But it's not a very efficient way. We're not going to do 16 points of damage by smacking him just with our car in 1 turn. So why don't we motor hand and we drew. There we go. That is very nice. That's what we need. One of our rear firing guns. So we can tickle him with that. Nice stock machine gun sound there. And then what do? We've got 7 handling left we can play with. We could do a simple turn. Like this. Because he's got to do more stuff to catch him. He's got to manoeuvre twice, yeah? Oh, there's something interesting coming up. I'll tell you about that in a minute. He's going to manoeuvre across here and then approach. That uses up his cards to do that. And then we can go forward, or we can go up a gear. None of them are really very good, are they? I would like to go up a gear so I can do this, but I haven't got enough things to do it. So let's go forward. Go forward 1. And then whack it up to get some armour on there. Now, oh no! Notice I used up all of my things, so now I'm skinning around. I did do that the other day. Partly a test run on this. I didn't think I'd go that far back, which is a shame. And I'm losing gear and various other things. That's kind of annoying. Never mind. By the way, this means the road is going to change up ahead. So next turn, you saw the roads change there. Next turn, we still got our turn though. He must have not been able to do it. I think he had 2 lower handling left. He couldn't do anything. He was down to 2. This is about to become a dirt road here, and that's going to become tarmac. That's important because, as we know, when we hit dirt roads, it makes a horrible noise. It doesn't actually damage us, but it does push us back a space. Okay? So we've got to bear that in mind for what's coming next. He's going to shoot at us in a minute, unless we can do 7 points of damage, which is 3 hits. So, we're in second gear. We can drop back 2 spaces, or we can just do this. This is one of the powers of using Zoe. And then what can we do here? We can do, if we do this and we hit him, we will fall back a space. Okay, so we don't want to do this one. We can turn it, we've got 9 left, we can turn into him. Speed like that. We can do a clutch turn and a bash, and we'll go up a gear. Doesn't matter too much. We can turn to him. Let's keep it nice and simple, shall we? What do you think of that, buddy? Didn't do any damage to us, you notice. Oh, have I done the wrong thing? Oh, I've done the wrong thing. I've been a silly man. I forgot. I didn't notice one of the symbols on there. These are the sort of mistakes I make if I'm not careful. Certain cards will cause a lock to appear. Now, locks can be of different colours, engine, wheel and everything else. Essentially, we can no longer play any more blue cards. The manoeuvring ones I wanted to use, because I'm an idiot. Because I'm too busy talking to you and not concentrating. Hit him again. Like that. We only need to do 1 more damage. Okay? Can we manoeuvre with any of these? Second gear. We can drop a gear. We can drop a gear, but then it wouldn't give us this effect. We're already in second gear, so we can't get the bash effect by doing that. This one, as you can see, locks out red cards. What we can try to do, though, is we can try to get... Oh, we could do that, actually. Let's draw a card. Oh, we can't play any of these now. Okay. So, annoying. We've only got 1 point left. That was misplay by me, and is often a common thing that happens. So what's going to happen next turn? Right, first of all, we're both going to drop back 1 space. Yeah, because we're both going to hit dirt roads. Secondly, remember, his goal in life is to get behind me and shoot me. So he's going to have to drop back a space and then come across before he can hit us. So he might get 1 shot off on us. But there you go. Maybe extra play. There he is, the drop back. He's going to fall back 1. So how are you going to get at least 1 shot on us, if not 2? Which is a loss of health I didn't need to do. But there you go. Little mistakes like that is how you lose the game. You will be seeing me lose the game. So, we've got no scrap to start with. We gained some scrap by killing these little gits. And now we've got a choice of different things to use. We have the sawed-off shotguns, the same as what we've got. You know, doesn't help us. We've already got that installed. We have the Zhaochan loudspeakers, okay, this is also a middle mount. This would replace the shotguns that we have. So not ideal unless we're going to sell it. Now, these are not bad. You can see the different sort of attack here. These things fire directly out to the sides, from either side of the vehicle. They only do 4 damage, but they add a new effect, which is rumble. Everybody, the rumble! The rumble causes damage to the enemy every turn. So they take 3 damage, they lose a rumble. They take 2 damage, they lose a rumble. They take 1 damage and they lose a rumble. It's like poison. It's a poison type effect, if you want to compare with other games from there. And then we have the oil barrel, the oil flood. Oil flood doesn't do any damage. Yeah, but it does do handling damage, which is okay. But then it just makes them bounce around, you know. So we've got 3 rubbish options here, but unfortunately, well, not the rubbish, but they're not ones that I want. I'm not getting offered what I want, which is hood-mounted weapons. So of these, I don't know how much they're worth. I'm going to guess what's worth more. Probably this one. Sure. That's it. Now at this point here, if we had something good, we could go to the garage and we could install it, but we can't because we're missing this thing here. But there you go. That's not too bad. We're going to go to this one next and we're going to fight the same thing again. Don't complain about that. These guys are easier. We're easier to deal with. And then hopefully we'll get a repair with our minuscule amount of 12 scrap. There you go. I think that's giving you a good idea of the game. I'm going to keep playing a bit longer and you are going to see me ultimately fail, probably in a very embarrassing manner. But, you know, maybe some miracle will happen. Maybe an angel will come down from on high, and help me get through the game. You know, RNGesus will turn up. and put his hand on my shoulder and say, "It's all right there, leesusss. I'll guide you through," because that's how Jesus talks. I mean, Jesus talks like that. Anyway, maybe. I doubt it, though. I'm now distracted by seismic stuff. I do love this little map. It's nice. What? Texas? Oh, it's not. What? It's not even Texas. Or is it Texas? I don't know what that is. What is that bit there? This weird bit of map. I'm not very good with American geography. Anyway, rambling. Join me again next time, and we'll go and meet this lot, and then see what horrible fate awaits us down the road. Take care. Thanks for watching.